times in your life that you find yourself inside a forest and think, what on earth is a forest? The sun might be shining brightly inside your eyes, and you may find yourself drinking water from a weird fountain that just came out of nowhere. For the longest time, I believed that if you looked hard enough, you could find abandoned staircases in the middle of the woods. I nearly just drove into the ditch, and no one told me otherwise. Hi friends, it's your boy CranberryEnthusiast, not some scary guy with an evil agenda. Welcome to Disaster Piece Theater, the only show that you probably shouldn't be watching at this time of day. It's pretty uncommon for you to go down a classic highway of the United States and not at some point or other come across a tree. Now that tree may have a different story to tell you than the one I am here to share, but still you should probably heed it all the same. We all come across many trees in our long and vast and dangerous and strange journey across this hunk of space rock, heavenly crafted like a donut. There are several things that you should know before we get started. First of all, you do not want to be Simon. You will have the urge to maybe kind of wish you were. Don't give in to that. You do not want to be Simon. Secondly, if you are looking for a good field mower, the person who lives back there can probably help you, or they're advertising or something. And so, as you traverse this trail, tread very carefully. Who knows what could be lurking around the next corner, around the next bend, around the next walrus. And with that, I have but 3 things to leave you. That didn't make any sense. Number 1, your ingenuity. Number 2, number 3, and I suppose that's all for me for now. But anyway, stay tuned because you're gonna not want to see the rest of this. So grab your chair and your cane and your pop sorghum and settle in for a very tragic tale that will make you smile. Presenting for the first time ever, in the first episode format, on the first rainy day, or it's not the first rainy day, on a rainy day in the month of Mystery Month. Disaster Piece Theater, ladies and gentlemen. I would clap right now, but I'm holding onto the steering wheel for dear life.
If you have ever been inside a forest, who knows what you may have seen there? Maybe you saw a shark and a toothbrush, or a shark selling toothbrushes, or a toothbrush selling sharks. In any case, you were likely struck by the experience and just had to do something about it. You might have asked some friends or maybe a bitter enemy about what they might do if they had been in your position but also had cheesecake. A man was sitting in a room and staring at the wall. The wall wasn't painted white. Actually, it was, but it had a rather large and yet thin crack toward the top right of it, but the man wasn't focusing on those details. The man was thinking about the problems he was facing. The man's name was Simon, and he wished he was someone more like you. Simon had somehow been accidentally eating hamsters for breakfast every day for the past month. He didn't want to do that, but he didn't really know how to stop it. He made notes to remind himself to have cereal or coffee or donuts or peppermint tea or pretzels or jelly beans or fish or Canadian geese or ice cream or hamsters or something. But alas, he would somehow still end up eating hamsters. It was awful. One morning, as he slurped up another hamster like a hash brown, Simon began to cry. Simon also had trouble with his shoes. He always could never find the right ones. He found the left ones just fine, however. As a result, Simon's right foot was often shoeless, and to make up for this unfortunate fact, Simon glued some rocks to his feet so he wouldn't be walking around half barefoot. Every Tuesday at noon, Simon would be reminded of the fact that aardvarks were real, and it was debilitating. Simon would slump against a wall and stare at nothing in particular. Then he would eventually eat baked beans and watch reruns of Inspector Gadget. Another one of Simon's problems involved the strange number of people who kept trying to open his front door. At all hours of the day, Simon would have to endure the incessant sound of knocking and screaming and doorbell ringing until he wanted to go work on an oil rig. If he ever would do this, however, he would be sorely disappointed to learn that oil rigs have front doors as well. What seemed the worst to Simon, however, was the enormous hamburger that was just there all the time. No matter where Simon went, he could not get away from it. It was there in the morning and at night, and he could not get away from it. It was there when he brushed his teeth and took down old Christmas wreaths, and he could not get away from it. It was there when the mailman came by and when he stared at the sky, and he was actually very hungry now. Simon got out his fork, or he would have, but he had accidentally sent all his silverware to New York, which would have been fine, but Simon didn't live in New York. He lived in Old York, and he let everyone know it. It was about Tuesday when someone at the police station got a call. Simon was gone. Nobody knew where he went or what happened to the man. There was a full investigation and search, but Simon was not discovered. Simon was apparently nowhere, but the humongous hamburger was still there. Even though he was missing, Simon could not escape it. Where do you think Simon went? What happened to him on that fateful Tuesday-ish day? It's anyone's guess.
There is a certain farm in Illinois, and if you are ever completely out of hope, go find that farm. They will tell you what to do.